Now I can't forgive you for any mistakes, because my heart has become a wounded kingdom, a land where trust once bloomed like dawn over the desert, now turned into sandstorms that refuse to settle. I gave you everything, even the pieces I needed to survive. You took them and walked away as if love were disposable, as if promises were nothing but shadows on your lips. And now I stand alone in the ruins of my devotion, wondering how love could become a battlefield, how tenderness could turn into a storm that destroys, how the one I once prayed for became the one I now fear remembering. My nights no longer carry the mercy of sleep. They carry questions that bleed like open scars. They carry memories that refuse to fade. They carry the echo of your voice saying forever, while my heart whispers that forever was a lie. I tried so hard to forgive you. I tried to hold onto the last breath of hope. But hope became a traitor in my hands. It wilted like a rose abandoned without water. And I learned that not every wound heals. Some wounds become the eyes through which we see the truth. Some wounds become the teachers we never asked for. You taught me that pain can be gentle at first, soft like a whisper, but cruel in the end, sharp like a sword that cuts without warning. And now I carry the truth like a crown of thorns, a crown I never wanted but must wear, because a king of the heart must learn from suffering. He must rise from the ashes of betrayal, even when the ashes burn beneath his feet. I once forgave your silence, thinking maybe it was full of fear, but now I know it was full of indifference. I once forgave your distance, thinking maybe you needed healing, but now I know you needed freedom from me. I once forgave the nights you disappeared, telling myself love sometimes needs space, but now I know you needed space from love, and I was the only one still fighting for us, still praying for a miracle, still believing that broken things could shine again. But today even my faith feels exhausted. Even my soul feels tired of being torn. You turned your back while I was still reaching for you. You walked away while I was still calling your name. You let the echoes die in the corridors of my heart. And you didn't return. I can't forgive that anymore, because forgiveness requires sincerity. And you offered me none. You offered me excuses dressed as reasons, and I accepted them for too long. I carried the weight of your mistakes, while you carried nothing. I held the sky trying to keep our world from falling, while you stood watching, untouched by the storms inside me. Now I can't forgive you for any mistakes, because they were not accidents. They were choices, and choices reveal the truth hidden beneath the tongue. You chose to wound me. You chose to ignore my tears. You chose to let me break. And now I choose myself. Even if choosing myself feels like breaking again. My heart has become a fortress today, built from every tear I shed in your name, from every night I begged for your honesty, from every dawn I waited for your return, and you never came. The fortress stands because I learned that loving you meant losing myself, and losing myself was the deepest betrayal of all. I no longer want love that destroys. I no longer want promises that weaken. I no longer want a heart that bends until it shatters. Your mistakes have become too heavy, a mountain I no longer wish to climb, a burden I will not carry into my tomorrows. Now I walk alone but proud, alone but whole, alone but free from the lies you sprinkled like stars, pretending they were constellations of hope. But they were nothing but illusions, the kind that disappear when you reach for them. I can't forgive you this time. Not because I'm cruel, but because my heart finally learned to protect its own pulse. Finally learned that not everyone who touches your soul deserves it. Finally learned that love without loyalty is just a beautiful poison, and I refuse to drink it again. You turned the story of us into a book of sorrow, but I hold the pen now, and I will write my healing on every blank page. I will fill my days with the strength I once gave you. I will fill my nights with prayers for myself. I will build a life where my worth is not questioned, where my sincerity is not wasted, where my love is not taken for granted. This is the beginning of my rising, the beginning of my awakening, the beginning of my truth speaking louder than my pain. And the truth is simple. I loved you with a purity you never understood. And you broke it. I trusted you with a devotion you never respected. And you shattered it. I waited for you with a patience you never valued. And you walked away. Now I walk away too. Not from love, but from you. From your mistakes. From your carelessness. From the wounds you left without remorse. Now my heart returns to its throne. Crowned in dignity. Wrapped in strength. Bathed in the light of its own courage. And for the first time in so long, I breathe without trembling. I stand without breaking. I speak without fear. And I declare with unwavering truth. Now I can't forgive you for any mistakes, because I finally learned how much they cost me, and I refuse to pay that price again. I remember the days when forgiveness felt easy, when love was stronger than pride, when my heart believed that every wound could heal, because you were worth the pain. But those days are buried under broken promises, under the silence you left in your wake, under the tears that fell unseen. You taught me that forgiveness has limits, that even oceans dry when the sun of betrayal burns too long. And mine has dried. Every wave of mercy has turned to salt. Every tide of patience has withdrawn from your shore. Now I stand in the desert of what once was ours. A desert where echoes of your voice haunt the wind, where memories crawl like shadows that refuse to fade. And I whisper to the stars that I am done forgiving what keeps destroying me. You asked for grace while giving none. You asked for understanding while living in deceit. You asked for love while burying its roots in lies. How could I forgive that? How could I pretend that love still breathes, when you were the one who took its last breath? I used to dream of your return, of a day when you'd say sorry and mean it. But dreams are cruel teachers. They make you believe in the impossible. They make you chase ghosts with open arms, until you realize you've been hugging air. You left me to wrestle with my own heart, to convince myself that you cared, when every action screamed the opposite. I became the poet of my own grief, writing verses of pain beneath the moonlight, hoping one line might make sense of it all. But pain doesn't make sense. It only teaches. It only reshapes. And I am reshaped by the lessons of your leaving. Once I thought strength meant forgiving endlessly. Now I know it means letting go without regret. It means looking at the wound and saying, I will not let this define me. I will not let this repeat. You used to call me the calm in your chaos, but you became the chaos in my calm. You shattered the peace I built with love, and left me searching for the pieces of myself that you never planned to return. I've searched the echoes of our laughter, but they sound like ghosts now. I've traced the paths of our memories, but they lead to emptiness. And I've realized something sacred. Some people destroy everything they touch, not because they mean to, but because they never learned how to hold love gently. You were one of them, and I was the fragile soul that trusted your hands. Now my trust lives behind walls, not of bitterness, but of wisdom. Walls built from every time I was too kind, too forgiving, too hopeful. I have built them not to imprison myself, but to protect the little light that still remains. Because even in heartbreak, I am still royal. Even in pain, my dignity remains intact. You could not take that from me, no matter how deep your mistakes ran. I walk now beneath the same sky, but I see it differently. It no longer holds your name in its stars. It holds mine. It holds the promise of peace, the melody of new beginnings. And though my heart still aches, it beats with purpose. It beats with survival. It beats with strength. You said I would never forget you. You were right, but I will remember you differently. Not as love, but as a lesson. Not as a home, but as a storm I survived. You became the reason I learned boundaries, the reason I understood self-respect, the reason I could finally say, no more. No more forgiving the unforgivable. No more giving chances to the same pain. No more bleeding for someone who doesn't notice. Now I can't forgive you for any mistakes, because my forgiveness was never your right. It was a gift, and you broke it too many times. You treated it like air always there, until it wasn't, and now you gasp for it. But it's gone. I will not return it, because it cost me everything. I built my nights on hope. Now I build them on healing. I built my mornings on waiting. Now I build them on gratitude. For the silence that no longer holds your voice. For the peace that no longer hides beneath your absence. For the freedom that finally wears my name. Do you know what it means to rebuild? To rise from a ruin that once felt like home? To breathe again after drowning in betrayal? It means becoming your own savior. It means lighting your own way in the dark. And I have done that. I have walked through fire and came out glowing. I have faced the ghosts and silenced them. I have forgiven myself for loving you. But I will not forgive you for breaking me. Some mistakes don't deserve mercy. Some truths are better left untouched. And one truth stands eternal. You lost the one who would have loved you forever. And that loss is your punishment, not my revenge. I don't need revenge. My peace is enough. My calm is louder than your regrets. My silence speaks louder than your words ever could. Now I live with grace, but without illusions. I love again, but wisely. I trust again, but slowly. And I forgive only those who deserve the gift. You are no longer one of them, because forgiveness without change is surrender. And I will never surrender again. You can keep your apologies. They are too late. You can keep your excuses. They are too hollow. You can keep your memories. They no longer belong to me. I have turned my pain into poetry, my heartbreak into strength, my sorrow into art. And though your shadow sometimes crosses my thoughts, it no longer stays. It no longer matters. For I have found something stronger than love. I have found self-respect. And that is the crown I wear now. You once called me your moon, but you were never my sun. You were a passing cloud. And I was the night learning to shine without you. Now my light belongs only to me. And it is brighter than the years I wasted forgiving you.